All right, hello, good afternoon. It is 1:06 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do have my client on this live with me who owed the Internal Revenue Service $200,000. We submitted an offer for her. The IRS accepted her offer for $40,000. When did you mail her name is protected because she doesn't want to share that, and that's perfectly fine. As you can tell from her voice, like you'll see that she's not me and I don't have an alter personality saying that it's somebody else. It really is a live person. She is one of my Facebook friends, but you won't see her because we protected her name. When did you mail? When did you place your offer in the mail?
We
You remember?
submitted, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we submitted my offer at the beginning of May.
Oh, shut up. It was in May?
Yeah.
Girl, that's the fastest ever. I don't know why, but I thought it was like in February. Okay, so it was submitted in May 2023, and the
Mhm.
IRS provided the decision in October 2023. So May, June, July, August, September, October. Girl, shut up. That's the fastest. So 6 months.
Yeah, which was much sooner than we had thought because we had thought it wouldn't be until January.
Right, because normally, honestly, like they take anywhere. The shortest I have had an offer accepted before that was 10 months. So, and the longest I've had is 24 months. So they did that real expeditiously. Okay, cool. So they accepted your offer within 6 months. Just so excuse me. So when did you and I meet? You remember when we met?
Yeah, we met the summer prior to that. We had started talking and working through all of my tax issues, getting transcripts and just kind of tackling the whole entire thing when I had filled out this year in tax myself and became very overwhelmed and just kind of threw it off to the side and just didn't know how to handle it. And then I had reached out to you. I saw you on Facebook and reached out to you for some help. And we started from scratch. We started the transcript so I could get all my taxes up to date. Then we started with the pre-offer assessment, and then we did our meeting and did the whole offer and compromise. So short of a year, but about 9 months worth of time with all from beginning to end.
Okay, cool beans. And then, so let's be honest. I'm all about honesty. So, what was it like working with me? Like,
I mean, it was great. There was plenty of moments when I was very emotional and felt overwhelmed, felt like things were hopeless. And not only were you great about explaining how things were going to happen and the next steps we needed to take, but really walking me back from that ledge, reassuring me that it's going to be okay, that you got me, that you got this. And it really was. It's hard to not feel overwhelmed when you're dealing with a federal agency like that. But it was a tremendous amount of stress relieved once we really kind of got into it, and I knew that you had my back, and that's the best part about all of it, worth every penny by far.
oh, thank you. Let's see. Is there something you want to tell people specifically? So, like, I had asked them to, you know, provide any questions that they may have for you. Nobody provided questions, but everybody wants to see the live.
That's okay. I think that the biggest thing is for me, one of my biggest learning from this is that um, while we had hoped for a lower offer, um, you know, when when you asked about tell me everything, I had not taken into account that stuff that had happened the year prior would matter to the IRS, and it did, and it really changed the outcome. I mean, it was still a great outcome. Are you kidding? From a $200,000 debt to a $40,000 offer is life changing by any imagination. And I wish I would have thought that far in advance. And so I think that if I had to give any advice to anyone, it would be, even the few years before matter, and they matter to the IRS. And so you have to talk about all of the big things that have happened in your life even 24 or 36 months in advance. So that way you have all the information you need.
So at any point, like, do you feel like it's really intrusive, like based off of the questions?
Not really. I didn't feel like I felt like you were very matter of fact and detailed as far as tell me about this, what about this, and what about this. I don't think, um, you know, I don't think I would have known exactly everything. Nothing was really hard to get a hold of. I think it's important for people to, hold on to their statements and stuff of that nature so they have numbers. I feel like the more detailed you could be, the better for you. Um, I didn't feel like it was all that intrusive whatsoever. You have a very good way of not passing any judgment. I think that we oftentimes judge ourselves very harshly. And you do a really good job about not making, at least you with me, you didn't make me feel judged. Like I screwed up. I knew I screwed up. And I needed help to get out of it, but there was no judgment.
Definitely no judgment. Yeah, it's never a judgment for anybody. We all make mistakes and we all have our areas of expertise. And I think one of the things that you've said in one of our conversations was like, hey Renee, like if you come to the ER, like I can help you. I can save your life. But this tax stuff, I don't know. And I'm like, great, because if I was in the ER, I wouldn't know what to do. I would die. I would bleed out because I have no
Exactly.
idea.
Exactly. We all have our things that were really the that we've been blessed with, and this really, really and truly is yours. So I'm grateful and glad, and I think there will be so many others within your lifetime who will be as well. And to know that they have that kind of support will be life changing for so many people, just as it is in what I do every day.
Exactly. Okay, so some people feel like having the offer, like some people feel like, let me say this, there are some professionals who say what I do can't be done. We've never ever met in person outside of Zoom videos. So
Correct.
what do you have to say to the people who say like it can't be done, who doubt that it can be done?
Well, I mean, we were, a time difference away and many, many, many thousands and thousands of miles away from one another. And we made it happen. I think that there's a huge, huge amount of trust there. I've given you all of my personal information. I think that there's a lot of trust that that is protected, and I have no doubt that it is. And I think that there's a tremendous amount of confidence in the way that you present yourself and you hold yourself. I think that there's also a great feeling of relief and almost a sisterhood. And knowing that you have my back and that it's all going to be okay. I mean, we had so many phone calls with IRS leading up to that offer and compromise, so many times left on hold. Remember, like almost an hour one time waiting. So many things that go into it, and I never felt like I didn't have somebody walking with me through it. So it can be done. You don't have to be face to face. And you build a true friendship. We didn't become Facebook friends until after this, actually. And
I remember that.
yeah, so you really build a friendship and a trust like your family. Like I like hearing about Jordan and your babies and your puppies, and you can see what happens in my life. And I think that you really touch more on a personal basis. And I know when you post about me on your Facebook, and I think it's great. I think people need to know that it's real. And you don't put my name out there. Nobody knows how to judge, that would stand in judgment. And I think it's fantastic. And I think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Some people say like, I've had people say like, I would never be your client because you tell their business. I'm like, I've never disclosed a name. I've never disclosed a social security number. I tell stories about real life people and the things that they go through. And they're not the only person that went through it. And it's really to provide hope. It's not to ever embarrass somebody, make somebody feel bad or like any of that.
No, and
So
I think it's important. And I don't feel any kind of way. I kind of like it because then when people are like, that's awesome, good job, good for her, or whatever it may be, then you feel like there's this camaraderie out there and that you're not the only person in the storm, that there are others out there who are like me that are just naive to this. And there was never any, intent on my behalf to, I pay taxes. That's not the problem here, but like to it was just a lack of knowledge and not really knowing what I was doing. And there's never, like it's nice to know that you're not the only one who messes up.
Right, right, for sure. So one of the questions that people have asked me is they're like, did she owe for multiple years or did she owe for 1 year? So you can answer it yourself.
I will for multiple years. But one of the years was really big. 3/4 of the $200,000 came from one single year. And that's the year that I really felt when I had done my taxes and I was compliant with my taxes until I did that year. And the amount was just so overwhelming that instead of trying to figure out how to fix it, I kind of just walked away from it. And then COVID hit, and everybody's world was turned upside down. And those of us in the medical profession definitely were. And it just didn't seem as important to me then dealing with what we were dealing with every day at work. And so I just let it go until I got to the point where I didn't feel like I could any longer and that I needed to get it, under control to get away from all that stress.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So to someone who is like who was in your similar situation regarding having outstanding taxes and like the anxiety or just whatever it is that you were feeling, like what would you tell somebody who's in a similar situation that you were in?
I think it's important just to take the first step. You don't know what you don't know. You need to talk to a tax fixer, which I'm so glad you redid your branding because I do think it is absolutely 100% on true. And you just need to take the first step and have a conversation. If I hadn't have done that, I don't know what I would have done. And I think I probably, to be honest, still probably maybe would not have addressed it. But I think that you just have to take that first step, and you have to just say, okay. And if the pre-offer hadn't taken care of, to be totally honest with everyone that's going to watch this, if the pre-offer assessment that I paid for hadn't turned out that I was a good candidate, you were really good at saying, okay, but there are other options to make this manageable. And so even though that option may not have been okay, at no point did I feel like there was another option. You were like, if this don't work out, I got you. We'll figure out a plan B and even a plan C. And so I think that, it's not one size fits all. Not everybody will be an offer a compromise candidate. I get that. And I do think that there are still other options out there for people to be able to manage their tax debt and to make it so that it's not so overwhelming. So I think that the first step really is to just, kind of swallow your pride a little bit and just have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I love that you mentioned that. So let's go back because I've had people say like $1,500 just to see if I'm a good candidate. Like, well, then how much are you going to charge me for the offer? So with hindsight, do you have any regrets in paying for your pre-offer assessment? And the pre-offer assessment is $1,500 and it's not applied to any other services that I may provide to you as a client.
No, not at all. Because I think that I looked at the website. I'm not a naive shopper, right? The IRS website gives you the thingy for the pre-offer assessment, but the paper doesn't tell you all of the details and the nuggets of information that you have in your brain from your experience. And so, sure, I could have gone online and filled that sucker out myself, but I don't know all the little things that you do. And it's just like going to Google Doc, right? You can go, oh, well, I got this, but you don't know all of the things that I know. And so I think that it's absolutely worth every penny. And I paid for multiple services and paid thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for my other thing. And it was worth every penny of it. Truly was worth every penny of it.
I added up your services. It was $23,000.
Yes. Which I know is a lot of money, but the reality is that that $23,000 wouldn't have been a drop in a bucket with the IRS. And so it really is worth it in order to do what you need to do to make your life easier.
Okay, awesome. Let's see what else. Let me see if somebody have a question. Because so far, friend, didn't nobody ask me no question.
That's okay.
Let's see. They wanted it, but I'm like, where are they?
Girl, it's Sunday. Everybody's at church, hopefully.
Look, getting a Jesus. All right. I posted it. Let's see. I see that there's 4 people here. If you have questions, you can ask, you can type them and I'll read them to her. Oh, okay. So someone just asked, how did you get in this situation?
Actually what I did was I pulled out my retirement, and I had paid what their IRS in the state requires. But what I did not take into account is the tax bracket. So because it's all considered income, my annual salary, if you will, um, plus the retirement threw me into a much, much higher tax bracket. So while I paid the required taxes, I didn't pay enough and didn't realize that until I went and put all my data in at the end of the year for my taxes, and had quite the sticker shock, I'll just say. And so that's really what messed me up, was that I pulled out retirement and didn't consider the tax bracket.
That's good. People don't realize that there are definitely different tax brackets.
Yes. And so, I mean, I did everything right. That's what I'm saying. I was naive about it, but I didn't take into that. I mean, I paid the taxes, and I paid the taxes out of my wages. That wasn't the issue. I've never not paid taxes. But,
Right.
I wasn't like I was claiming exempt. It's just that the combination had thrown me into such a higher tax bracket that I was unprepared and did not withhold enough money. And then, and as you always put all over Facebook, they want their coins, and then there's penalties and all of the things. And so it just has grown to a tremendous amount of money.
But we fix tax problems, so no big deal.
That's right. That's right.
Tax problems
100%.
Okay. Okay, so that was a good question. Thank you, Shanika. That was a really good question. Let's see, friend. They're not asking questions, and I really do respect your time. So we're gonna give them like 2 more minutes, and then if the people have more questions, friend, then we done, because I feel like this is your experience. And whenever clients leave reviews, like I don't have a checklist. I'm all about transparency and being honest and straightforward. So she didn't have a script. Like, I don't do that.
I probably don't sound like I have a script either.
Yeah, let's just see, because people, I don't know, unfortunately, there's a larger name company, right, that people hear about all the time. And no lie, like someone calls me who has worked with that company at least once a week, and they never do what they say they're going to do. They also have people pay them monthly. So then people really don't realize how much they've paid them over the course of the years that they're paying that company. And they end up paying more than they would have paid me. But people are normally sticker shocked when I say, like, oh, okay, well, that'll be $15,000, or that'll be $30,000, or that'll be $20,000. But they'll pay this other company for years $600, because that sounded like that was affordable. But multiply that 6,000 times 24 months, friend. You've now paid them 14,000 when I told you it was 10.
Right.
See that, so I always tell people, you have to decide, do you want to pay the IRS or do you want to pay me? I cannot guarantee results. But if I do a pre-offer assessment, I've never had a offer rejected when a client has told me everything that I needed to know, and did exactly as I say. If you do that, then we're good. And again, I cannot guarantee your results, but I do know what I know about the IRS. And as my client said, there is an offer, pre-offer assessment on the website for the IRS. I'm telling you now, those questions are not the only things that matter. And you also have to consider the source, right? You're basically asking the IRS on that website, can I pay you less? They're going to basically find a way to tell you no, when in reality, you may truly be a good candidate for an offer, but because you asked the IRS, can I pay you less? They told you no. As a federal employee, my job was to protect the government's best interest. It wasn't to protect you, the taxpayer, which is why I now do what I do, because now I'm here to protect my client. I'm here to make sure that my client is good, because I already know what the government wants. I know what the government is after. So I, as the tax fixer, am here to help my client. Like, I want to help you sleep at night. I want to bring you true tax relief. And like, I want you to feel good about your situation. Like, money is money. Like, as long as we live, we can make more money. But sometimes we can have a debt that makes us feel like life isn't worth living. I've spoken to taxpayers when I worked for the IRS who were suicidal, who I had to press the button for the police officers to come, because people feel overwhelmed by taxes. And I never, ever want someone to feel like they can't get out of this situation. All tax problems can be solved. I promise. And I have many stories from clients who have seen relief per my services. All right, friends. So I'm not seeing any more questions. Anything else you want to say before you go to choir rehearsal?
I know, here shortly. No, I just think that the best thing for people to realize is, to really give it a chance, Renee. They need to know that it's okay and it's different. You really need a partner in the game, and that's really what you are. You are a battle partner, and it's good to have, a buddy in the fight, and to know that, that you need that person. And I understand that sticker shock. I remember when you told me on the phone, I was like, oh my gosh. But you know what though? I figured out a way to make it happen, and I'm so much better for it. And I think that people need to realize that effective services, really good services, aren't cheap, and nor are they free. And so are you going to go to the dollar store and get something, or you know what I mean? Are you going to really pay for what you want? And I go to the dollar store all the time. Look, I ain't shaming nobody. What I'm saying is that, it's an investment in your life. It's an investment on the outcome of your life, and it's an investment on the quality of your life. And so when you're going to invest in somebody helping you find a solution to a problem, your investment has to be worth it, and you're worth it. And so I hope that this video helps. I hope people, sign up. I hope that they really understand that it really is worth every single penny, and that it brings them some solace and some peace and some calmness in their life when they do pair up with you, because it is truly life-changing in more ways than one. So I hope that they do it, and I hope that this helped. Carolyn, I always got your back. I'm here for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end this live. I'm going to press it